Howdy folks, Banjo Dan here with another installment of the Eclectic Banjo.
In this lesson, I will quickly review from Lesson 3 what are major triads, then explain the order of notes on the banjo, including where note values repeat themselves at unison and octave pitches, and finally, I will offer a method to quickly memorize the fretboard using mnemonics with major triad bar chord locations. The G major scale contains the following 7 notes. The notes can be assigned scale degrees. Degrees come in handy when formulating chords. A chord is 2 or more notes of a scale that possess a certain musical resonance with each other. One kind of chord in a scale is called a major triad. It is a 3-note chord built on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th degrees of a major scale, such as GBD for the G major scale. A bar is a way to fret a chord on the banjo whose notes are all at the same fret location as each other. In standard G tuning, major triads are found at every fret position and in the correctly ascending pitch on strings 3, 2, and 1 as bar chords.
Such bar chords could be formed by placing the index finger across the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings at the 2nd fret to form A, C sharp, and E major triad, at fret 6 for D flat, F, and A flat, and at fret 11 for the major triad, G flat, B flat, D flat. So how is this relevant again?
Major triads are the building blocks used to formulate other chords. A 3-note chord is just the beginning. Knowing them will serve another purpose for us as well, to memorize the banjo's fretboard.
Wait, what?
Part of one's journey through music theory is knowing where all the notes are on their instrument. I'm sorry to say, but if you haven't already learned the fretboard, now is the time. Fortunately, the banjo's fretboard is relatively easy to become familiar with once you know a few key concepts. We'll start this fretboard discussion by using the most common tuning for the banjo, standard G major tuning. Now let's do some simple math to figure out how many notes there are on the banjo and how many notes we actually need to memorize. The first 4 strings on the banjo have 22 frets each. 4 times 22 equals 88 fretting locations. Now add 17 frets on string 5, and that's a total of, that's right, 105 notes. Now we need to add 5 more nut notes, and we have a total of 110 notes on the banjo, not including harmonics. Now let's look at where certain notes repeat themselves. On strings 1 through 4, frets 12 through 22 repeat themselves from the open notes to their 10th fret values. And on string 5, frets 17 to 22 repeat themselves from the open note on the 5th string to its 10th fret. That's a total of 50 notes at their octave locations that we don't need to memorize. If we know the notes at the lower frets, then we know these notes too. We just need to subtract the fret number by 12. For instance, the 1st string 18th fret is the same note as the 1st string 6th fret, since 18 minus 12 equals 6, which so happens to be G sharp or A flat, and its octave G sharp or A flat.
Will this be on the test?
If we subtract these 50 octave notes from the total of 110, we have 60 notes left, and that's a 45% decrease in total memorization that we need to do. Of the 60 notes left, the 1st and 4th strings are octaves of each other as well. We can subtract out all the note values on the remaining frets of the 4th string and focus only on the 1st string note values. All octaves of each other. So for purposes of this lesson, that's 12 more notes below the octave of the 4th string that we can cut out. Another 20% reduction in our total memorization requirement. 48 notes to go. The first string past the 5th fret and the 5th string are actually the same exact notes and pitch as well. So that's another 12 notes that we can cut out below the 5th string's octave. Another 25% shaved off the final total. What's left to actually memorize is a total of 36 notes at the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings below their 12th fret octaves, or from their open notes to the last note of their chromatic scale at the 11th fret. 36 notes from an original pool of 110 notes, or 33% of the total. That's not bad, is it? Recall from our previous discussion that the G major scale is present on the 3rd string at the open note G, 2nd fret A, 4th fret B, 5th fret C, 7th fret D, 9th fret E, and 11th fret F sharp. If we can remember where these frets are, learn the major triads at these frets on strings 3, 2, and 1, use our knowledge of where notes repeat themselves, and fill the in-between frets from our knowledge of the chromatic scale, we'll have mastered the fretboard. To aid us in remembering the major triads, we can use something called mnemonics.
Can you spell that? Oh, okay.
You've heard of every good boy does fine, right?
Does fine what?
That's a mnemonic for the order that certain notes appear on the ledger lines of the treble clef.
The treble clef?
The capital first letter of each word represents a note to remember. Well, let's apply that approach to major triads in the jargon of a banjo player. What phrase could be made from the open major triad GBD if each letter started a word in the phrase?
How about Great Banjo's Delight?
Works for me. For triads whose notes contain a sharp or flat counterpart, let's focus only on the sharp note. We can use an SH ending for the word sharp and hopefully come up with a word that begins with the first letter of the note in question and ends with an SH. Speaking of which, what word code would we come up with for C sharp at the 2nd fret's major triad?
How about the word cash for C sharp? C for the C note and sh for the sharp symbol.
Sounds good. How about a cash enterprise for the phrase? Example phrases to these major triads that begin at each of the G major scale notes on the 3rd string are as follows. We have GBD at the nut, Great Banjo's Delight. A C sharp E at the 2nd fret, a cash enterprise. B D sharp F sharp at the 4th fret, best dished fish. At the 5th fret, C E G, clams eat gunk. At the 7th fret, D F sharp A, dine fish always. At the 9th fret, E, G sharp B, Earl gushes banjos. Earl being the famous bluegrass player Earl Scruggs, of course. And at the 11th fret, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, Flashy Ashley clashed.
All right, hotshot. Time to put your money where your mouth is. What's the triad at the 1st fret?
Well, I know the major triad at the nut is GBD. With my knowledge of the chromatic scale, I can easily go up a half step to G sharp, C, D sharp, or A flat, C, E flat.
Uh-huh. All right, fancy pants. What about the triad at the 6th fret?
I know that clams eat gunk, or CEG, at the 5th fret, and that we should dine fish always, or D F sharp A, at the 7th fret. The in-between notes are C sharp, F, G sharp. or D flat, F, and A flat at the 6th fret.
Lucky guess. So there was big talk earlier about how the fretboard repeats itself. What's the note at the 4th string, 18th fret?
Remember that the 4th and 1st strings are octaves of each other, and frets 12 through 22 are repeats of their open notes to their 10th frets. If I subtract out the octave, or 12 frets, from fret 18, I get fret 6, which is the same note on the 4th string as it is on the 1st string. In my previous example, this note was G sharp or A flat, which would make the 4th string the same, just one pitch apart.
Bravo. Last question. You'll never get this one right. What's at the 5th string, 22nd fret?
Well, the 1st string past fret 5 and the 5th string at all its frets are identical in notes and pitch. So once again, if I subtract out the octave or 12 frets from 22, I get the 10th fret. I know that Flashy Ashley clashed at fret 11, so 1/2 step lower for the 1st string is C, which is also the same for the 4th and the 5th string, both at frets 10 and 22.
Hats off to you, sir. Well, that wraps it up for this lesson. If you'd like to see more of this type of content, feel free to click that subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I post new content. And if you appreciated my contributions to the video, Banjo Dan actually pays me according to the amount of likes I can produce. So, yeah, go ahead. Click it. Yeah, it's right down there. Just click it. Click it. Click it. Yeah, that's it.